Welcome to this edition of Gentle Somatic Yoga and lots of other tools for balancing Kapha. And Kapha, according to Ayurvedic tradition, is sort of an excess of lethargy and sort of heaviness that a lot of us feel as we're emerging from winter into spring. We're just kind of feeling congested and slow. So my advice to you today, if you're willing to do it, is maybe push yourself a little bit. Don't close your eyes as much, possibly even look up, especially if you're feeling depressed or lethargic. These are subtle energetic ways of getting out of that kind of kapha density. And but of course, like in any class, be very sensitive that you are moving with comfort and ease, and that everything that you're doing is feeling nourishing. Okay. So we will start today doing the moon salutation because it also happens to be a full moon on the day we're shooting this class. And I will guide you through it twice, because in the moon salutation, we'll start off to one side and then we'll repeat the whole thing starting off to the other side. Okay. So find your way into a comfortable standing position and shift your weight a few times. Look at your feet for a minute, not a minute, maybe a few seconds. Then look in front of you and then maybe look up. All right, raise your arms up over your head on an inhale and draw them down by your side on an exhale. Lift up again on an inhale. If you can, interlace the fingers. If this is bothering your shoulders, keep your hands on your head. Otherwise, lift up and then reach up and then release. Reach up, lengthening your body and release. Imagine you're on a stretcher. Reach up and release. And this time, maybe reach up and look up and release. Now keep the hands up there and tilt to the left side first. Hold the belly in when you tilt. Come back to the center. Tilt to the right side and back to the center. Tilting one side and center, the other side and center. Drop one arm down and maybe go a little deeper. Release the arm. A little deeper. Release the arm. Really feel the side bodies opening up. The moon salutation is very much a side to side movement. So widen your legs. And this is known as full moon pose, goddess pose, horseman pose. So you're visualizing that you're holding a full moon and you're gently pulsing up and down. Be careful with your knees. Adjust your feet, not your knees. Adjust your feet so that the knees are tracking over them. So if your feet have to go in more, do that. Anything that keeps your knees tracking over your feet. Nice. Go ahead and release that. Just go up and down. Lift it up on an inhale, drop it down on an exhale. Lift it up on an inhale and drop it down on the exhale. So just a little warm up before we start the moon salutation. All right. Now we're actually officially starting the moon salutation. Arms overhead. Go to the left side first. Come back to the middle. Go to the right side. Back to the middle. Widen your legs. Now you're holding a full moon. Now straighten the knees. Turn the right toes slightly in. The left toes toward the edge of your mat. And now go in and out of a warrior two. A warrior two is one hip open, one hip slightly closed. Breathing, making sure that you're not over bending the knee. Nice. Now, if you want to widen the stand, do it by drawing the back leg back like that, if you want to widen it. Put your left hand on your left thigh and tilt over. Now, some of you are going to just stay like this. You're not going to put the arm overhead. Others of you might like the feel of the arm over the head. So just you decide. This should again be a big side body lengthening. Now, if you can, straighten the front knee, drop the hand, that left hand down, and go up and down. We're preparing for triangle pose. In gentle somatic yoga, we always prepare the body before we actually do the pose. And if you're doing the triangle pose fully, you would then reach the arm up to the sky. You could either look down or look up, but you can always just keep the hand here, okay? Now this is the trickiest part. We're gonna pivot to face the long end of your mat. So now you're all facing the long end of your mat and just go up and down a few times in the pyramid pose. Now, some of you are going to go all the way to the ground. I'm not. I'm going to keep my hands on my back and just go down a little bit and up, down a little bit and up. Now, what's different about this pose versus the others is our hips are facing straight. So if you're going all the way down, you might have blocks you're reaching for, but I am staying about here and breathing. All right, coming back up, pivot your feet to the front and do somewhat of a squat, right? You can go as deep or shallow as you want. Now we're repeating the whole thing to the other side. So turn the left toes in, the right toes toward the end of your mat, going in and out of a warrior two. Placing your right hand on the right thigh and lengthening this side body and coming up. Again, we're preparing the body. We don't just go right into the pose. This is what keeps the nervous system from saying, panic, 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 I don't want to do it. You're staying within your range of motion and you're giving little micro movements to give the body time to prepare. Now, some of you might be pulling this arm overhead and some of you might not. Depends on how your body is feeling today. And now straighten that front knee if you can. Slide that front hand down further. You might be looking down at that front foot. You might keep your head neutral. Some of you might be looking up and adding the arm. This is triangle pose. It's actually a pretty advanced yoga pose. So be aware that you don't overdo it. Pivot now to face the long end of your mat and get ready to do a pyramid pose, whatever version you like. I'm going to keep my hands on my back. I'm making sure my spine is staying long, and I'm just going gently up and down, maybe each time a little further. Maybe. You decide. You want to feel something. What we are doing when we do this, besides working the nervous system, we are hydrating all the connective tissues in your body. The connective tissues need to be hydrated for both communication to go through, as well as blood, as lymph. And when they get stuck for whatever reason, go ahead and pivot back to the front. Let's go into some sort of squat and draw the feet toward each other. So we're going to repeat some version of this starting to the right side since we started to the left side. I might do a few things differently. Arms overhead, First moon phase to the right, back to the center. Left, back to the center, full moon. Nice. Now turn the toes to face the right side first. Go into a warrior one, and then a triangle, and then pivot, go into some sort of pyramid. And then if you want to, actually we were doing a warrior two there, not a warrior one. Now we can do a warrior one, right? Warrior one is straight hips. Warrior two is one hip open. Come back to the center, go into full moon pose again, pivot to the other side, warrior two, triangle, pivot to face the long end of your mat, pyramid pose, warrior one, back to the center, and let's do one last full moon pose or goddess pose or horseman pose, depending on if you're a man or a woman. Heel toe your way in, lift your arms up, and just go side to side a few times. And go ahead and check in. Right hand on the heart, left hand on the belly. Eyes can be opened or closed. And just notice how you're feeling. Hopefully your side bodies have been opened. The moon salutation is very much about opening the side bodies, as opposed to the sun salutation, which works the front and the back. And breathe. All right. Check in and see how you're feeling. Since we're standing up, we should do a balance. Traditionally, people do tree pose during full moon. And if your balance is a little off for whatever reason, it's always great to have a chair nearby or a wall. And my suggestion is if you're using a chair or the wall, make sure it's your inside leg that you're stabilizing, and don't do this. That's not good. Stand very close, put your fingers on it, okay? And now start by lifting the leg up to the front and then turn it open. And once you've found where you're turning it open, you can either lay it across your leg, put it to the side. You could even just put it on top of the other foot. This is still a balance. The one hip is open. And if you want to add the arms, you have to add a smile. You might want to look up as if you're a tree in the moonlight. Nice. Go ahead and shake that out. Wiggle around. Make sure your legs are nice and stable and not tense. And if you're using a chair, put it on the other side or turn yourself around. Make sure you don't lean over. Put all the weight on one foot. Lift the other leg up, first to the front, then open the hip the amount that feels right, and then find a place to put the foot. Draw the belly in, lift the arms, smile, breathe, maybe look up. You're a tree in the full moon. Nice. Release that, shake the legs out, walk around a little bit, seeing how you feel. All right, we're going to make our way either down. If you're using a chair, you're on a chair. If you're on the ground, you're seated on the ground. And I do think I want to see if the camera is, yeah, I think it's pretty good. So there we go. Now you can see more of me. All right. So let's go ahead and do a breath practice that is very good for balancing Kapha. It's an energizing breath, and make sure that you, once again, that it doesn't make you too short-winded or something like that. If it doesn't feel good for you, you can go to a normal breath. So this is called Kapalabhati, which is sort of fire breath. And you're going to breathe in normally, but then on the exhale, you're really going to force it out, like breathe in normally. And I put my hands on my belly to make sure I'm really pulling that belly in. Breathe in normally. Breathe in normally. Should be a very stimulating breath. Breathe in normally. And if you want to go further with this, you could do it could be, that's a more extreme version. I find that too stimulating for me because I tend to not have a lot of kapha. I'm primarily a vata pitta person. So if that might end up being too stimulating, but you could do more extreme if you're prone to lethargy. So you would be doing both kind of a big inhale and a big exhale. So that is something you can do if you're finding yourself like just feeling lethargic, you can't get yourself moving. That's Kapalabhati breath or shining skull breath. There's a couple different versions, and it's all about forcibly doing the breath. And whether it's just the exhale or both the inhale or the exhale, that can really be helpful. Okay, so from whatever position you're doing, the other thing that can be pretty stimulating when you're feeling lethargic are twists. So if you're in a chair, obviously you're not going to add the leg position, but if you're on the ground, stretch your one leg out. And if you want to mirror me, I'm going to my right, and I don't know what side that is on the camera because I think I reversed the camera at some point. So I'm going toward the inhale, exhale side, okay? So sitting up straight and tall, first twist, eyes will be open. Picking a spot behind you. Make sure in between each of these twists, you are softening your back body, releasing muscles. Then re-engage, next couple, and let's keep our eyes open the whole time since we're working on kapha. Normally in gentle somatic yoga, we close our eyes, but let's keep them open to keep that energy and stimulation flowing from the outside. All right, and now on the last time, let's do something with the eyes over here. So look up, look to the right or left, doesn't matter. Look down, look to the other side. So doing a little bit of eye yoga, which is also very stimulating for the nervous system. Release and go the other way. Eye movement. All right, let's go ahead. Now, before we completely do the other side, if you have this leg up, you can go one time open to the other side. If you're in the chair, it's not necessary because you're going to do, the same number to the other side. All right. Wherever you are, go ahead and release for a second. Do something that feels nourishing. You could shift around a little bit. You could shake things out. Shaking is another way to actually release excess energy or to wake yourself up, depending on what you need to do to get rid of energy or increase energy. Go ahead and take the other leg up, sitting up straight and tall. And let's go ahead and do the twisting series to this side, softening between each, releasing back body muscles, paying attention to where you're feeling this. On the fourth time, go ahead and stay back here and start doing some eye movements. Do toward the back wall, up in the sky, toward the front, down, Do that another time, and then reverse. And come back, and then you could do a twist to the other way for good measure. All right, everybody release that and do some windshield wipers. Even if you're in the chair, you can just shift your hips side to side. All right. And pedal your feet, some foot stuff. And whatever feels right here. Okay, before we go all the way down, we'll do a little bit of head, neck, and upper body release, and then a mudra, and then we will go ahead and go down. So really, it doesn't matter where your lower body is now. You can have one leg out, you can switch the cross, because we're really going to focus up here. So let's go ahead and lift the shoulders up. So crunch everything together. So you want to create the tension to decreate the tension. This is what works the brain. It's like, oh, this is tension. This is release. Because those lines get fuzzy. Create the tension, release the tension. Create the tension and release. Same thing now with the neck. So you should feel it in the front here, right? This should be engaged. Release. And then when you lift the chin up, you should feel the back of the neck engaged. Don't drop the head back, lift it up and release. Make sure you're releasing. Keep the eyes open today. All right, now we're going to drop an ear to a shoulder and also tuck that shoulder in at the same time. So this is the tensing up. Tense it up. Mindfully let it go. 2 more times. Feel the tension. Purposely let it go. Last time. To create, to decreate. That's how the nervous system and brain start connecting again. It's like, oh, this is what tension feels like. I'm doing the other side now. This is a release. Tense it up. Really engage. Soften, soften, soften. Last time. Tense it up and let it go. So just do something that feels nourishing. I like to take the second and third finger and find the indent right under my skull, which are known as your suboccipitals, and put my fingers in there and circle the head a little bit, keeping it safe, but getting a little fascial release. And then the other way. And shake it out. So draw the arms out to the side. We started doing this in an earlier class where this is called nerve flossing. Turn one hand so that the fingers are facing forward. The other hand, the fingers are facing back. And then drop your head toward the side where the fingers are facing back. And then reverse the hands, reverse the head. The reason this is called nerve flossing is because we're not lengthening both sides of the muscles. We're shortening one end and lengthening the other. And therefore, it is not necessarily a stretch as much as like flossing. We're flossing the nerves. Okay, go ahead and release that, shake it out, do something that feels good, circling, So go ahead and start to circle. Circle. If you're sitting on a chair, make sure you're forward enough so that you can actually have maneuverability, and then reverse the direction. All right, so we'll do our mudra practice now. And I picked out a really interesting one the other day that let's see. Well, let's see if I can pick out the Kapha balancing one, because there is one for Kapha balancing here. So it's going to take me a second to find it. I keep them. Okay. Have to go with the front of the book. There's so many different, okay. Okay, Kapha. I need that one. Vehicle elimination, Rupa, bliss body, no, wisdom body, energetic body, upper spine. I'm getting there. Okay, actually, this is the one. I like this one because it's a gesture of the water, so it's flowing with the stream of life. And that helps us stop feeling so grounded or rooted. So Jala means water, and it's the name for the water element, whose qualities include fluidity, refreshment, hydration, lubrication, nourishment, and purification. So the Jala Mudra directs your breath, your energy, and awareness into the pelvis, which is the seat of the water element. It enhances the qualities of fluidity and flexibility while cultivating greater ease and adaptability within our thoughts and feelings. So flowing with the stream of life is our theme. What you do is take the thumb, touch the pinky of the same hand, your 3 fingers are out, lay this on your lap. Got it? All right. On this one, you can close your eyes because I think it helps with the mudras to have your eyes closed. So go ahead and just start to breathe and just notice where your breath is going. As you hold the Jala Mudra, take several natural breaths, tuning into any feeling or sensation evoked by the gesture. See if your breath is flowing into your pelvic area, which is the home of the water element. Within the pelvis, visualize all the expressions of water: lakes, rivers, seas, and streams, and they all infuse you with the quality of fluidity. Take several breaths, tuning in deeply to the pelvis, sensing water's essential quality of fluidity, bathing this area completely. As your pelvis is infused with fluidity, the stream of liquid energy begins to flow outward to nourish your entire being. With your next inhale, attune to the fluid essence within your pelvis. And then as you exhale, sense the stream of liquid, healing energy bathing your reproductive system completely. Inhale again, returning to the center of your being. And this time as you exhale, sense the fluidity bathing your urinary system, from the kidneys to the bladder, with soothing, healing energy. On the next inhale, tune into the center of fluidity. And as you exhale, sense how this quality supports your lymphatic system in removing the kapha residues from your body's tissues more efficiently. Take several breaths to sense your lymphatic system as a smooth, flowing stream whose purifying power allows all of the body's organs to function optimally. On your next inhale, reconnect with the seat of the water element in your pelvis. And as you exhale, sense a stream of healing energy bathing all of your muscles, your tendons, and ligaments, giving them suppleness and flexibility, lubricating your joints naturally. As your body is infused with the quality of fluidity, you naturally experience greater adaptability and ease within your psycho-emotional being, nourishing your relationships, allowing you to flow through life with greater ease. With greater ease, you're able to embrace challenges and transitions more easily. You're flowing with the stream of life at every moment of the journey. Imagine yourself floating down a beautiful stream, being carried. So affirm the essential fluidity by repeating the following 3 times, aloud or silently. With greater fluidity at all levels of my being, I move through life smoothly and easily. With greater fluidity at all levels of my being, I move through life easily and smoothly. With greater fluidity at all levels of my being, I move through life smoothly and easily. Release the hand gesture. Let your fingers move around. Gently blink your eyes open. And if you are on the floor, you could do a few cat-cows and maybe even a downward dog before you get onto your back. If you are moving from a chair to some other surface, you just want to grab all the things you need. And we will want our blanket spread out over the mat to allow your feet and other body parts to move freely and smoothly and easily. So you might do a few cat-cows or red light, green light, as we say in gentle somatic yoga. Oh, and then you're all setting up to be on your backs to do several other things. So again, because we're trying to be a little more invigorated, trying to get kapha out of our system, we'll do more things as a flow today. So it might be something like, normally we just bring the leg in, but let's, do a few things like opposite arm to knee and like that a few times. You might, and even if you're keeping the other leg bent, you might, be just a little more physical in the way you're doing this, especially if you're feeling lethargic. But again, you have to stay within a nourishing practice for your nervous system. So don't push yourself to the point where your nervous system is not happy, because it's your nervous system that reacts to pain. So you could be doing it like this. You could keep both legs bent and doing it like this. You could just even be one hand here, one hand here. So you have to decide what the appropriate level of this is for you. Either very energetic, moderately energetic, or not as energetic. You want to feel good the rest of the day. You don't want to feel in pain. So as you're doing these things, and I've been talking about pain recently, that you don't, if you have already a certain level of pain, and this does not exacerbate it, then you're fine. But if you're already creating more pain in your body, then you need to back off. And then the other thing, go ahead and take one leg in and cup the hands under, either stretch the other leg out or keep it bent. The other thing to keep in mind is, how will I feel later? Is this going to contribute to more pain later? Or am I nourishing myself in a way that I am not adding to the pain sensation? So those are two things to keep in mind. So I am pointing the toe at the top, flexing it at the bottom. This is back to nerve flossing. Nerve flossing is incredibly good for people with sciatica. If you don't have sciatica and want to get more of a stretch, you could flex at the top, point at the bottom. You decide. So whichever one you're doing, go ahead and come to a pause on that. And now we're going to lift and lower the other leg, either like 1/8 of an inch, 2 inches. Feel the engagement of that leg. But then when you put that leg down, soften all the muscles. We're going to do that 2 more times, but change the foot position. Turn the foot out now. Now you should feel the engagement of the inner thigh. And when you put that foot down, make sure you've let go. Now turn the toes in. Feel the engagement of the outer thigh. And when you bring it down, soften everything. And that not only engages that leg, but releases the opposite hip. So in between the two sides, let's check in and see how they feel. Keep your eyes open if you can today. Unless you are feeling not Kapha-like, but Vata-like. If you're feeling Vata-like all over the place, then close your eyes. Okay, we're doing the other side, lifting. You're either, or trying both, pointing at the top, flexing at the bottom. That's the nerve flossing, the safer one for sciatica. Or if you're doing the more stretch one, you're flexing at the top, pointing at the bottom. Flexing and pointing. You decide, or you might be trying both. Keep that leg in, engage the muscles of the other leg, lift maybe 1 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe 2 inches, no more than 3 inches. Lower it down, soften all the muscles. Turn the foot so that the toes are facing out. Feel the inside of the leg engage. Feel the inside of the leg soften. Let it go. Now turn the toes pigeon-toed. You should feel the outside of the leg engage. The outside, soften, let it all go. Check in again. Notice, how are the sides feeling? So this has been a more energizing class because we want to get rid of some of this excess kapha in our system. We've got this lethargy that settles in at the end of winter. All right, from wherever you are, go ahead and bend the knees. And let's do a little bit of pelvic rocking, doing the rocking chair. If you want to make it more energizing today, you put the hands behind your head. When you rock forward, pin the arms down on the ground or wherever surface, tilt the head up. When you rock back,
you're drawing elbows toward each other, tucking chin in. You can make this as big or small as feels appropriate. These are pelvic tilts, very balancing, but you can make it energizing if you want. Now, some of you might be drawing elbows and head up. And then when you pin your arms down, your lower back coming off the ground, the feet feel like they're pushing the ground. Now, the next time we all do this, whether you have your hands under your head or not, when you draw your elbows toward each other, lift the butt off the ground. You can also just do this with arms down by your side. When you place it down, you rock away. When you come towards you, you're kind of going into a little bridge pose. When you go away, you've got the pelvic tilting away, the feet pressing the ground. Draw the pelvis towards you, lift up into bridge, come back to the surface, draw the pelvis away. To come out of that pose and just check in, put your arms either in a T, or if you're on a sofa and don't have room, you could bend the arms cactus style and place them with palms facing the sky above your head. And then let's windshield wiper. Explore different width of your legs in the windshield wiper. So you might start wide and then get a little narrower. You might change your arm position. I love the idea of lengthening one arm along the ground or surface when my legs go the other way. So it's a full stretch along that side body, and then bringing it in. And once again, on the other side, lengthening. So you should feel from the armpit down the side, all the way in front of the hip flexor, and then bringing it in. All right, take a pause here. Maybe you want to bring your knees up. Maybe you just want to lay down. Just do something that feels nourishing and happy to your body. Oh. Kick your legs. Some of you might be doing happy baby. I don't like happy baby for my body, but I do like to have my knees up. And you could also be putting your legs on a chair too. That also feels good. All right. So stretching the legs back out again. This time you're going to, you know how we did the tree pose standing up? We're going to do a version of tree on the ground. So imagine one leg, it's the leg you're balancing on, right? You're standing on that. So that leg's engaged. The other leg you're setting up for tree pose. So you could even bend it forward first, then turn it out, and then lay it down somewhere. Some people love the idea of putting a block either under their knee or even under their foot, with the foot against the leg. So this is more extreme opening if you put the block under your foot. The one under the knee, it's a little more supportive for the knee. So you decide which one you like. Today, I'm actually feeling that I could do this one. Nice open here. And you can imagine that you're doing tree pose, your arms up in the sky. And that you're honoring the full moon with this beautiful tree pose. And breathing. All right, let's set up for the other side. If you're using a block, you're either placing it under your knee or under your foot. You can use your foot to kind of maneuver it around to adjust it. Make sure the other leg is like engaged as if you were standing on it. And then your arms could go up and you're in a lying down tree pose. Breathing, feeling energized by the moonlight. So go ahead and release that. Press the block away. And I want you to just imagine you're doing hip hikes, one hip at a time. So it's a subtle move. So let's say a hip hike would be this hip, my right hip's coming in, and I'm shortening this side of the body, right? So, and then lengthen it out. Do that again. So hiking the hip up, you're not taking anything off the ground, and you're shortening this side of the body, and then drawing that leg away and bringing the upper body up. And let's do the other side. Hiking that left hip, so I'm kind of crunching a little to the left side, lengthening that leg and straightening out my body. Hiking that hip up, so I'm shortening and lengthening and doing all this lengthening. Now we're going to turn this into banana pose. So cross your right leg over your left foot and slide the feet a little bit over to the left. So cross the right leg over the left, slide it over to the left. You should have more length on the right side. And now I'm leaning my upper body to the left too. So I should look like a banana or a crescent moon on my surface. If you wanted to add the arms, your arms would go up over the head on the surface, or you could just leave your arms down. So you have a shortened side of the body and a lengthened side of the body, banana pose or crescent moon. Let's untangle the legs, come back to the middle, see how we're feeling, and then cross the left foot over the right, shift the legs a little bit over to the right, tilt your upper body to the right. You should have a long left side, a short right side. You could add the arms, you don't have to. And so we've still been working side to side a lot today. Opening up the body, energizing. All right, untangle the legs, come back to the center. Do something that feels nourishing. I feel like I need to draw a knee over my body a little bit in more of a opposite motion that we just did. And then we'll end with the flower, which is a very balancing move. So in the flower, make sure you have enough room. I want your arms to start with the palms up. No, actually palms down with hands by your side. When your knees open, and my knees and my feet are together. When my knees open, I want my palms to open and draw my shoulders under the back and tuck the chin. That's the opening of the flower. When I'm closing the flower, I'm turning the hands back toward the floor, drawing my shoulders up to the sky, lifting my chin up. Close the flower. Open the flower, palms to sky, shoulders underneath, legs open, chin tucked. Close the flower, turn hands inside out, lift the chin, shoulders are up,
knees together.
Breathing, inhale. And exhale. Opposition movements are so good for the body in order to balance it. All right, so whatever you need to do to settle into your Shavasana, go ahead and do that. You could be shifting hips around, you could be kicking your legs, you could even walk around the room. And if you're tired of laying down, you could do a seated Shavasana, more of a meditation pose. So this was a pretty energetic class because we're trying to clear Kapha out of our season to prepare for spring and get rid of all that excess stuff, that lethargy, it's like mucus in your body. You want to clear it out. So that's what we were doing today. So find your way into a comfortable Shavasana position. Have a wonderful reading from Tara Brach today, like always. And this one, I like this. This one's called I Am Undo, UNDO. One of the great myths about meditation is that we do it to gain something, more insight, more blissful experiences, more joy, more compassion. While all those benefits might arise through meditation, what they really come from is letting go. Letting go, not grasping onto anything. Swami Satyananda, a spiritual teacher from India who played a major role in introducing yoga practices to the West, was once asked by one of his students if it was necessary to become Hindu like him in order to practice yoga. The Swami smilingly answered, I am not Hindu, I am undo. As Hinduism and all great faiths teach, spiritual awakening is a process of undoing our habitual reactions, letting go of believing in our thoughts and identifying with our emotions. Like a snake shedding its skin, we shed the limiting identities that we've outgrown. By undoing, we allow our natural intelligence and love, that is our true nature, to flow freely through us. So lay here for a couple of minutes, just let the breath flow freely, let the thoughts come and go. Just notice your sensations in your body. What can you undo today? What can you undo? What can you let go of? What habitual thing that goes on in your life can you just say, enough, it's wearing me down. It's not contributing to my happiness today.
slowly make your way to seated if you're not already seated. Hopefully you're hearing all the tones of the sound. Sound is so healing as well. And then gather anything that was particularly helpful to you today in releasing some of the kapha excess that happens to many of us as we're leaving winter, going into spring. Draw hands together at the heart, acknowledging these beautiful practices that are passed down, acknowledging each other on our own healing journeys, and when we practice together, a collective healing journey.